In 1867, Archbishop of Canterbury Charles Longley sent a letter to Anglican bishops across the globe, inviting them to come to his home at Lambeth Palace for a gathering, for a meeting together of fellowship, of prayer, and to address issues of practical consideration. It was the first Lambeth Conference, and it would have far-reaching effects. Hi, my name is Chuck Robertson. I'm Canon to the Presiding Bishop for Ministry Beyond the Episcopal Church. And this summer, I will be traveling to Canterbury and London for the 15th annual Lambeth Conference. These Lambeth Conferences throughout the years have been moments of great deliberation, prayer, fellowship, and at its best have provided a message to the world of that love and fellowship that Archbishop Longley first discussed. Indeed, his successor 10 years later reminded all the bishops gathered that they would not be meeting to define issues of doctrine or discipline, but rather, he said, I believe it would be a work of love in which we should be engaged, the extension of Christ's kingdom. This work of love would show itself in subsequent Lambeth conferences. In moments like 1888, when the bishops there gathered would take seriously what had been done at the General Convention meeting in Chicago 2 years prior, and come together to form what would be known as the Chicago-Lambeth Quadrilateral, steps that could be used towards communion with other parts of the body of Christ. After the First World War, when the bishops gathered together in 1920 to try to find a better way forward for the world, they came together and said once more words that spoke of fellowship to a world desperately needing fellowship. Indeed, they said in the letter that would come out of that great conference that it is not by reducing the different groups of Christians to uniformity, but rather by rightly using their diversity that the church can become all things to all people and model for the world a better way. In 1978, when the bishops gathered after the ordination of women to the priesthood in this church and several others, they once more gathered together and affirmed what had been done, and for those who were still struggling with the decisions, they said, let us come together and recognize our diversity within a unity of faith and worship, for this is part of the Anglican heritage, indeed, part of our DNA. As a result, many, many more churches across the globe would subsequently realize the importance of the ordination of women in their own context. In subsequent years, we have looked at issues like the care of creation, how to care for God's earth in which we live, as well as issues of human trafficking, migration issues, and all of these are issues we still deal with today, and that we hope and pray will be addressed in this gathering of bishops in the 15th annual conference. Pray for them. Pray for the churches they represent. Pray for our witness to a God who loves.